Have you ever noticed that you just feel effortlessly in tune with your intuition some weeks, yet other weeks it feels like a scramble to try to tune into? In this video, I'm going to share my experience on how my intuition is absolutely impacted by hormones. And I know I'm not alone here since I worked with many others who experience the same. And I'm going to share how this monthly cycle is the opportunity to deepen your work with your body and your intuition versus working against it. Now, I am in the midst of my luteal phase, so this is what inspired this video. I know what I experience and what is not too unique from other women is during this phase, there is increased emotional sensitivity, sometimes mood dips, fluctuations, just sensory overload, extreme fatigue, and this is all common. Nothing's wrong with this. But because of this increased dysregulation in our body, it will be harder to access intuition. And this is an incredible opportunity to strengthen your relationship with your intuition. Eckhart Tolle, the spiritual teacher and author, describes this time of intensified emotions and triggers as the part of the cycle where the pain body becomes more active. Now, the pain body could be looked at as the ego. I strongly believe that we are not to off the ego, unlike some people suggest that is part of the spiritual process. The ego cannot and should not be destroyed, as suppressing it ends up backfiring. And because the pain body or ego can come on so strongly during this part of our cycle, suppressing it will only reap more negative and intense consequences in the long run. So the key is to learning how to work with this intensified pain body, not against it, and not letting it run the show. For me, at one point, I would describe my mood fluctuations as just like a part of my reality. And I would really be in it a little too much and get a little too attached to the ego thoughts where I have trouble distinguishing what is ego versus my intuition. If you have not had a chance to watch my video on intuition versus fear, I will link that in the description below so you can watch that right after this. In that video, I go more in depth about how intuition shows up versus ego just in everyday life. I have seen so much progress in my healing and just alchemizing of this pain that comes up on a monthly basis when I approach it proactively. I notice the first trigger, and I know that is my opportunity to take a deep breath, not react. And then I go through my process, which I might have to make a whole nother video on. Anyways, I'm getting on a tangent. um, Old wounds will come up again and again. This does not mean that you're backsliding. It just means that something needs to be seen again. What is coming up for you is material for transformation. It is not to be ignored. It is an opportunity to truly alchemize. During this period, it can be particularly difficult to distinguish between intuition and ego. Overall, intuition is quieter, calm, it's a more certain voice. Ego is louder, urgent, it's more of a nagging energy. You likely know the feeling where you're just like, you feel like you're being overtaken. The pain body trying to dominate, I think, is a great way of articulating it. As for me, it's essentially like the demons trying to take over. That sounds very dramatic. That kind of helps me see it from a more neutral standpoint, where I'm like, okay, this part of me that isn't my true essence is trying to take over. And because our bodies are working overtime and our nervous system is just generally in a less regulated state, it will likely take longer to get to regulation. So, this is also a prime opportunity to practice self compassion and a great example of why getting in tune with your cycle is so imperative. Your body is undergoing its monthly maintenance. So, this is a necessary time for more rest and compassion. The more that you practice this on a monthly basis, the greater self trust that you will have in yourself to tackle this and just handle your hormonal shifts in a more balanced way. And tuning into your intuition during this time is less about tuning into it for making big life decisions, but tuning into it for moment to moment care. So for me, I have reached a point where generally my luteal phase and any mood symptoms, emotional symptoms that come up around that time are less intense because I've alchemized the patterns that arise sufficiently to, I've done a lot of emotional releasing. Plus, I just have so many tools in my toolkit to be able to handle it. And I don't identify with the ego too much. But I use my intuition to tune into what does my body need food wise right now? What type of exercise can my body handle today? To sum this up, spirituality is a cleansing process. That's what it is to me, at least. That's the type of spirituality that I identify with. It is to release the pain, and that includes when you're hormonal. What comes up when you're hormonal is coming up for a reason. And awareness of this and awareness of your cycles is what prevents it from dictating your life. It's easy to be approaching luteal or in luteal and see it as a phase that is punishing you. Why do I have to manage this? Why am I experiencing all of this? I'm so fatigued. I feel useless. I feel brain foggy. I feel like just less capable. And it's very frustrating sometimes. But this phase is not here to punish you or diminish you. These symptoms are just asking for your presence and self compassion and a different type of care that you likely need at other points in your cycle. I really appreciate you listening. I trust that you got something out of this, and I really appreciate you being a part of the Finding Joy Collective. If it feels aligned to like and subscribe, I would so appreciate it. I would appreciate seeing you back here. Tell me in the comments what did resonate. And if you have any questions specifically about navigating intuition during your cycle, or just about intuition, self-love, spirituality in general, I would love to help out.